And how do we become value? One of the ways we can become value is attaining skills. Skills that we don't have. Skills that we probably have been overlooking. Skills like communication, okay? Skills like being better at creating friendships, okay? Persuasion skills, okay? Connecting with people, okay? Being good at a particular language, okay? So it is up to us to begin adapting skills that will put us in a better place to attract value. Nga bwe tugambye, you can only attract what you are. Kyotali tosobola kya attractinga. Si bwe kiri? So if you want to be wealthy, you can only attract wealth by becoming a person of what? Of value. Jo nakubidde mukwano gwange essimu. Twali tukola naye. And I was asking her what she's doing. Ne mugamba okola mulimu ki? Nti sikola, Jonathan bw'omanya embeera gye ndimu, nti ate bbaawo. Nti bbaawo nga akola but he can only take care of us. Ne mubuuza nti how do you get MBs, because I usually see her ku WhatsApp. Nangamba nti my husband connects me. Okay? So ne mugamba nti why don't you start doing something? Banga yadda ngamba ngeri gy'atalina mulimu, talina ssente, talina ky'asobola kukola. So I was asking her, lwaki totandika omulimu ogugwo? She told me, I've told you I don't have money to start what? To start something. So I told her that is where so many people go wrong. Is the capital we have is not money. That is the other thing that we don't know, that they've always taught us, that capital is money. Capital can be part of money. Sorry, money can be part of capital, but capital is not money. So when you ask me then how I started, that I can explain proper in a better way. Capital si sente. Omuntu bw'oba ng'okyali mu ndowooza eyo oyinza okulowooza nti ono by'ayogera kirabika ayogera kubanga already his thing is rolling now. But capital is not money. We are capital. It is us. You are capital. And why are you capital? It's because you have the brain to generate ideas that will create money. And why do we get stalled? Why? Lwaki tubeera awo ekigongo ono wali tokola? Si bwe kiri? How did he start working recently and is not employed? Because he realized the value in him and he started working on himself to start doing what he's doing. Okay? So you can run around looking for money to start what you want to start, but you can only ojja kwetooloola, but you may not get what you do what you want. So I was telling Helen that until you begin looking at these things in another way, you will never get out of that rut. Kubanga buli lw'oba olowooza nti sente is capital, you will never start anything because you think I have to get money to begin. But ideally, if you want to start something, the better place to start is creating an idea. And someone says, yes, I've had the idea for a long time. Okay? I've had the idea for a long time. But that means you have not been resourceful enough to create value. Omusajja Jeff Bezos, I usually tell people I talk to nti mwegomba nnyo. Actually, Jeff Bezos mu bintu ebisinga byenzize mpulira ayogerako seewuunya lwaki is the richest man on planet Earth at the moment. Jeff Bezos banyumya yali anyumya ne muganda we. He has one brother and they were talking about their grandfather who helped them become so resourceful. Bakulira ku ranch ne jjajjaabwe. But he always says that that man taught them how to be resourceful. And just like Jim Rohn teaches, that things only get better for us when we become better. When you start to be a person of value, that is when your life is going to change. It's not the money. It is about being a resourceful person. I'll give you one example. The other time I was showing you because poverty or being unsuccessful and being rich, these two, what divides the two is habits. Okay? And because what divides the two is habits, it depends on what you do. When you begin to learn to do some things, then you begin to become someone better. Nze is really good at communication. And I can look at the people who I am better compared, like, and so okugeza. For example, people from my okuve waka, Jenva. When I look at their habits, and some of these habits I used to do, okay? And when I look at them, and then someone says, I really want to be successful, and they are still doing that, it's going to be hard for them to get through. Because they are still doing the same thing. One of them, they don't communicate that effectively. Poor people, they don't communicate, they don't know how to communicate. Omwana ono gwe nabadde njogera naye, Jesse, ayina ebintu byayogedde, yaŋŋambye ye yayagala nnyo yasomera Mengo SS. But abadde n'opportunity ebeera close n'abaana b'abagagga oba abaana abagagga. And there are three things that he talked about that he noticed about them. And I think they will be helpful to you. Nawe bw'oba ng'oyagala, you can take them up. There are these three things that he said that I noted them down because they're important to note down. He said, these kids, they always owed someone a favor. Ayina ekintu kye yali akolodde omuntu ng'omuntu oyo amunoonya abeeko ekirungi kyakola ki? Kyamukolera. We are talking about the habits of the poor and the what? I can tell you this morning, I called people iwafeeyo several times and they are not picking and they don't even care to call back. You will never get out of the poverty rut. Do you understand? I'm just giving you an example, and that is where I was, and I'm no longer there. Enough property for nature. If your behavior is like that, you're never going to be you're never going to be happy, because number one, you'll have very, very bad relationships, and those are the people we talked about. Waliwe tuso say they've just taught us to want money, and we know people who have wanted money in Bazifuna. Of course, we know them, isn't it? But they are not happy. But what we are learning is, how can you be successful at the same time be happy? Is by learning to be a person of value. Now, the second thing this boy said is, they always have somewhere. Era ng'agamba nti buli lwe baagendanga awantu nga waliwo obwetaavu bwe balina ng'agamba, I know someone in this place. And then he's able to call this person, and then this person is able to respond. So, in simple terms, what I noted is they will always have contacts. Okay? That is one thing I learned just recently. Never, ever lose contact. I don't care what that person is. Never lose contact. To losing a contact, you don't know when you will need that person. Number three, the other third thing that he said that is so useful that I took note of is they always prepared for opportunities. Now, example, even when I'm forwarding messages that I write, is I always tell people it's about preparation, okay? You can never make use of something 100% if you've not prepared better for it. Sibachiri? Okay? It depends on how we show up, okay? If we are going to get 100% of something, it depends on how we show up. It depends on how better prepared we are for it. Kati yabadde ampa ekyokulabirako eky'omulenzi omu. Mulenzi ono yali mukwano gwe and the family is so rich he's coming from. But he was saying that somehow when something good comes, it will go to them still. Because they are better prepared for it. And then he gave this example. There is a time UNICEF brought books for artists. And then it was looking for people who have boards. Bali ba students baina drawing boards, so ba papers, or clips and all that. And the vote falls on that boy, his friend, because he's the only one who had a board. So part of this, what we are learning is how do we prepare better to make the most of. How do we prepare better? To make the most of our lives. And the answer is number one, still it goes back, is by being someone of value. And it's hard to understand that you're a person of value until you go back to the purpose, the reason why you were created. And Jim Rohn teaches basics, and for him he teaches them he says he calls them basics because they come from the Bible. Until you understand purpose, you may not be a person of value. You will continue chasing money, just wanting money. Well, you will get it, but you will never be happy. Right? Okay. How do we become people of value? I've given you those three things. You can take note of them. But part of what I learn and I'm doing at the moment of being someone better, every day you always look out for someone you can help. And you go so call it a favor. Okay? Because what you will always give out will always turn around and come back to you. Sibachiri, we know that even according to the Bible, it will always come back to you. So that is exactly what you will attract. We've been taught things like saving, which is good. I don't condemn people who save, and I'm not saying it is a very bad habit. But if you're looking at what remains with you all the time, you will never invest in something better. Okay? And we've always been taught what is remaining. Because we have been taught to want money, we are always wanting to have to keep something with us. And we are not looking at what we could get out of investing it or putting it into, or could it become something that is valuable, so that it will give you more knowledge probably, or it will give you more returns so that you can become more. Okay? And that is the threshold of growth. Kubanga abantu abasinga abatali bulungi nnyo, there are people, lumu nalimpa ekyokulabirako. I always give this example. I sometimes communicate to him, but lumu omuvubuka nga mpeereza gondi oba yakateka ku status. This could sound, for some people, chiwulikika mu ngeri ndala, but it explains the law of use at one level. Okay? And the law of use, will understand it better when we are looking at the story of talents in the what? In the Bible. Okay? But mu buli wohamu yali akinnyonnyola ng'ono yateeka akantu ku gundi ku status agamba, is this advice or malice? Kubanga hamu yali agamba nnyonnyola nti mmwe mugenda ne musevinga ssente zammwe ne muziteeka mu banks. Ffe ne tugenda nga tulina projects ne tunnyonnyola banka naye tuwola ssente zammwe. Bwe tuwola ssente ezo ne tuzikozesa okuzimba bizinesi oba okuzimba ebizimbe, and then again ne tuddira mmwe abaaterese ssente ezo ne tuba employinga ne tubasasula ku ssente zammwe ze mukola kino. Okay? There are those two mindsets. Okay? Kakati eyakateekako yagamba, is this advice or malice? Because sometimes people think they understand, yet they don't what? Understand something. Kati ogambo yagala kubeera successful, but even the person who is explaining something that, you know, he's better placed to explain something like that. Kubanga, you can't deny it akusingako. Okay? So, he's saying we do that and then we go back and then borrow your money again. Ne tuzikozesa and we employ you again. It comes back again here at the law of use. So, until we become people of value, we are never going to attract value. And part of how we become people of value is by learning a few skills: communication, new languages, developing your mindset, reading books, credible books. Si kusoma buli kintu ky'osanze, but there are things you will read and then they will put you in a particular state. So you should know what you're reading. And then actually becoming a person of value will always depend on how you feed your mind on, what you feed your mind on. Always. Okay? So, when we come to the law of seasons, this is not well expounded because I want to go through this very fast and then I will go back to each after some time. Now, law of seasons. Okay. Lawrence, what are you doing? Huh?